Who's actually going to get the most out of an FPV drone that promises a 4K, super wide view, and built-in safety guards? Who should walk away because they'd rather stick with a traditional camera drone? And does the price of the Avata 2 Fly More combo make sense for the everyday creator who just wants a few cool shots? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I hear that question a lot when people are on the fence. The Avata isn't a pick-you-pan fly-anywhere toy, but it isn't a professional cinema rig either. It sits in that sweet spot where hobbyists who have already done a few linear-sight flights start craving the immersive feel of first-person view, and where content creators who need that adrenaline-pumping perspective want a system that won't wreck a $200 headset on a crash. The risk you're managing is simple. You could end up with a slick piece of tech that sits on a shelf because you never feel comfortable launching it, or you could get a drone that lets you capture footage you'd otherwise need a helicopter to film. Let's break down why the Avata 2 Fly More combo lands where it does, and whether it's worth the $1 for $100+ price tag for you. First off, the biggest draw is the immersive FPV experience. DJI paired the drone with a lightweight goggles system that gives you instant visual feedback as if you're actually inside the machine. That matters when you're trying to pull off a tight orbit around a tree line or weave through an urban canyon. In practice, the 155-degree field of view feels genuinely cinematic. You get that you're there sensation without the tunnel vision you see on cheaper FPV rigs. For a creator who wants to sell travel reels or extreme sport clips, that perspective can be a game changer. On the flip side, if you're only after stable, static aerial shots, the FPV vibe may feel gimmicky, and you might be better off with a classic Mavic or Air model that offers smoother hover and easier framing from a distance. Ease of use is another practical checkpoint. DJI marketed the Avata as intuitive motion control, and that's not just marketing fluff. The drone uses a handheld controller that translates stick movements into fluid flight paths, which feels more natural than the thumbsticks you see on traditional drones. For someone who has already spent a few hours with a DJI Mini or an older FPV build, the learning curve is shallow enough that you can start doing flips and rolls within a half hour of practice. The built-in propeller guard is a solid safety net, especially if you're flying in tight indoor spaces or around people. It's sturdy enough to survive a low-speed bump into a wall without shattering the propellers, which saves you from constantly replacing parts. That said, the guard adds a bit of drag, so the Avata's top speed feels a touch slower than a stripped-down racing FPV drone. If you're chasing raw velocity for drone racing, you'll notice the difference. Battery life is a common source of hesitation for FPV pilots, and DJI tried to address that by bundling 3 intelligent flight batteries in the Fly More combo. Each battery gives roughly 18 minutes of flight time under moderate use, which is pretty generous for a drone that's constantly maneuvering at high throttle. The intelligent part means the batteries report health and remaining capacity directly to the DJI Fly app, so you're never guessing when you need to swap out a cell. Real-world testing shows you can string together 3 short sessions, say, a quick scouting run, a few stunt clips, and a final sweep before you need a break to recharge. If you're a weekend creator who wants to shoot a short music video, the 3 batteries will keep you flying without a charger for the entire shoot. However, if you plan marathon sessions, think a full day of documentary work, you'll still need a spare charger or external power bank, because those 18-minute windows add up quickly. Stabilization and image quality are where the Avata 2 truly tries to stand out. The 4K camera is mounted on a 3-axis gimbal, delivering ultra-sharp footage even when you're doing rapid flips or barrel rolls. The super-wide 155-degree lens captures more of the environment than a typical 78-degree drone camera, which makes it perfect for tight shots in cramped spaces like forest trails or narrow alleyways. In low-light scenarios, think dusk or indoor events, the sensor holds up surprisingly well. You'll get usable footage at ISO 3200 without the massive grain you see on older FPV models. Still, the lens is fixed, so you can't zoom in without moving the drone itself. If you need close-ups of a subject from a distance, you'll have to get physically closer, which could be a limitation for certain storytelling styles. Menu navigation on the DJI Fly app is another practical point. DJI has streamlined the UI to hide the more technical settings unless you actively dig for them. For a beginner, that means you can launch the drone, select a cinematic mode, and the system will automatically handle exposure, white balance, and